Shalom, shalom. Hey, I got the $1,000,000 question, right? For those that claim the mark of the beast is a microchip, right? With everything going on in the earth, who's going to implement the mark of the beast? What nation is going to implement the mark of the beast? Because if you say it's all white people, you got to be specific, because obviously Russia is not doing what America is doing. China is not doing what America is doing. Iran is definitely not doing what America is doing. What nations or what white nation is going to implement the mark of the beast?
Glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Baharakah, Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Stone who taught me this truth and who read as examples to the flock. Peace and salutations to the Akim out there pushing this word in all sincerity, in all honesty, in all truth. Starting with the 144,000 elect men of Israel, as well as the large multitude men, women, and children whom the Lord has foreordained to receive this knowledge, Shalom. Now, it's going to be a response, to Chief Ephraim's $1 million question. As you can see here on the screen, the elder Monatizatba has done a response. A couple other elders, a few other elders have done responses. The Apostle Tahar himself has done a response. I wanted to take from a slightly different angle. And before I go into, my response, Chief Ephraim, as you can see, you've gotten your answer. We would like to see a video of you breaking down what the mark of the beast is and how it will be implemented. So now that you've gotten your answer, we need to see a video from you breaking down what the mark of the beast is and how it will be implemented globally. Now, that being said, let's get into the lesson. So the crux of his argument is that the nations are not in agreement. Therefore, how can the nations bring forth something globally such as a microchip? Now, this stance is from a position of ignorance of what is really going on in the geoeconomic arena, right? Or the geopolitical arena. Because, men like this see the conflicts that are on the surface and think, that those conflicts are a reflection of the true geoeconomic direction in which the world is going to go. Now, I'm going to bring out a few facts, from ChatGPT. So I asked 2 questions and I'm going to bring out both of them. So before I go into this, we always bring out, men of GMS always bring out, the fact that before this microchip, is fully implemented in the earth, there's a digital framework, a digital infrastructure that needs to be built around it. 2 key things that are needed for this digital infrastructure to be built is a digital identification system and a digital currency, which is a central bank digital currency. Now let's see if the nations agree when it comes to these 2 things, right? So how many nations are implementing or have implemented a digital identification infrastructure? As of mid-2022, 186 of 198 countries maintain digital records maintain identity records in digital forms, right? Out of these, 132 countries support in-person digital verification / authentication. 81 countries allow government-recognized digital credentials usable for online services. However, only 50 are in full rollout, meaning their systems are live, right? Exploring. Over 150 are exploring to have implemented government-backed digital identity systems. Roughly 164 claim to have at least an electronic digital ID in some form, though fewer 57 have fully operational systems. So that should answer the question there. Are the nations in agreement when it comes to a digital identification framework? It is. It is a part of the UN agenda, right? Matter of fact, we're going to ask that after we do the second question here. So the second question here, how many countries are implemented or have implemented a central bank digital currency. As of early 2025, 134 countries and currency unions representing 98% of global GDP are in various stages of exploring CBDCs. Again, the question is there agreement then across the board on implementing central bank digital currencies? There is. Because it's one agenda. No matter the conflicts that you're seeing right now, the Iran versus Israel, the Ukraine versus Russia, the East versus the West, the BRICS nation versus NATO and America and all of that, there is all one agenda. And if you look up, let's go to show you, right? What does the UN Sustainable Development Goals say about having a digital identity system, right? So here we go. The United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, and every nation pretty much on the earth, save maybe a handful, are a part of the United Nations. So it says the UN explicitly recognized digital identity as a key enabler for sustainable development, particularly under Sustainable Development Goal 16.9. By 2030, provide legal identity for all, including birth registration. Although the SDG target refers to legal identity, not necessarily digital, the UN and its development partners have clarified that digital identity systems are essential tools to meet this target efficiently and inclusively. So when you ask questions like the one that he asks here, because he's saying that the nations are not in agreement, you doubt the power of the Heavenly Father. You don't see the power of the Heavenly Father. This is Isaiah 55 verse 11. So shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing whereunto I sent it. Isaiah 46 and verse 9. Remember the former things of old, for I am Yahweh, there is none else. I am Yahweh, there is none like me. Declaring the end from the beginning and from the ancient the times, the things that are not yet done, saying, my counsel shall stand, and I will do all my pleasure. As the Elder Manatazakba said, and the Apostle Har said, it's the Heavenly Father's mark, yo. He's the one implementing it at the end of the day. He's the one pushing the nations to do this, yo. And that's confirmed in Daniel 4 verse 17. This matter is by the decree of the watchers and a demand by the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomsoever he will, and setteth up over it the basis of men. The Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, yo. Now, there's a clip. I haven't looked it up, but let me see if I can find it. Bank of International Settlements on CBDCs. Right. There was, here we go.
All our analysis on CBDC, in particular for the use of general use, we tend to establish the equivalence with cash, and there is a huge difference there. For example, in cash, we don't know, for example, who's using a $100 bill today. We don't know who is using a 1,000 peso bill today. A key difference with the CBDC is that central bank will have absolute control on the rules and regulations that will determine the use of that expression of central bank liability. And also we will have the technology to enforce that. Those two issues are extremely important, and that makes a huge difference with respect to what
this Bank of International Settlements. And if you don't know what the Bank of International Settlements is, it is a central bank of central banks. It dictates, global monetary policy. And this man is telling you that the CBDCs are not equivalent to cash and what we have now as quote unquote digital currency, because the CBDCs will be totally controlled by the central bank that issues it. And the rules and regulations will be able to be enforced technologically, right? This is programmable money. You understand? And then ultimately, that programmable money is going to be on a microchip, the size of a grain of rice, embedded into your body. Whether that be your left hand, your right hand, your left butt cheek, your right butt cheek, wherever you implant it, right? That's gonna be the mark of the beast, right? This is Proverbs chapter 21, verse 1. The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord as the rivers of water, so he turneth it whithersoever he will. So the Heavenly Father is implementing his prophecies. And all nations, as you can see by the statistics that I brought out, are bringing forth this system, right? Whether they seem to agree or not, right? And if you look back to the sea ragamuffin, the COVID period, every nation was mandating vaccines. So what are you talking about? Right? So, hopefully this lesson was edifying. Until next time, shalom.